You think you know everything about air travel, don't you? Well, prepare to have your mind blown by a secret the aviation industry has been hiding for decades. Every day, thousands of flights take mysterious detours over the South Atlantic, adding hours to journeys and millions to costs, and nobody's telling you why. Here's the truth. There's an invisible force above the South Atlantic so dangerous it can destroy aircraft electronics in minutes, yet most travelers have no idea they're flying around one of Earth's most hazardous regions. What if your direct flight isn't direct at all? Airlines spend billions yearly avoiding an area that looks normal but harbors a cosmic nightmare. The geography of our planet holds curious secrets about air travel, and the South Atlantic is hiding the biggest one. This isn't conspiracy theory, it's hard science meeting real consequences, where cosmic forces beyond our control reshape how we navigate our skies. Imagine if I told you that there's an invisible force lurking above the South Atlantic that's so powerful, it can literally fry the electronics of a commercial airplane mid-flight. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? Well, here's one of those curious facts about our planet's geography that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about air travel. Every single day, hundreds of flights carefully navigate around a specific region of the South Atlantic, and most passengers have absolutely no clue why their journey takes a seemingly longer route. This isn't just some random aviation quirk or bureaucratic nonsense. We're talking about a genuine atmospheric phenomenon that's been silently influencing flight paths for decades. The airlines don't exactly advertise this little detail, do they? It's like there's this invisible barrier hanging over the South Atlantic that planes simply can't cross safely, and the aviation industry has quietly adapted their entire routing system around it. You'd think such a massive operational change would be front-page news, but somehow it flies under the radar of most travelers. What's even more fascinating is that this mysterious zone doesn't follow any logical geographical boundaries you'd expect. It's not like avoiding a mountain range or steering clear of a war zone. This is something far more subtle yet infinitely more dangerous. The very fabric of our planet's magnetic field gets weird in this region, creating conditions that can turn a routine flight into a technological nightmare. And here's the kicker, most people flying over the South Atlantic have no idea they're skirting around one of the most hazardous areas for modern aviation. You know what's absolutely mind-blowing about this whole South Atlantic mystery? There's this thing called the South Atlantic anomaly that's basically Earth's magnetic field having a complete meltdown in that specific region. Picture our planet's protective magnetic shield as a giant invisible bubble. Well, over the South Atlantic, that bubble has a massive weak spot, like a hole in an umbrella during a thunderstorm. The curious thing about geography is that this anomaly doesn't care about oceans, continents, or political boundaries. It just exists there, defying our expectations of how Earth's magnetic field should behave. Scientists have been scratching their heads over this phenomenon for decades, and here's where it gets really interesting. The magnetic field in this area is roughly 30% weaker than it should be, which means all that nasty cosmic radiation that usually gets deflected by Earth's magnetic shield can penetrate much deeper into our atmosphere. It's like having a security system with a giant blind spot that everyone knows about but can't fix. The South Atlantic becomes this cosmic highway where high-energy particles rain down from space, creating an invisible minefield for anything electronic flying through the area. What makes this even more intriguing is that this anomaly isn't static, it's actually moving and growing stronger over time. Some researchers believe it might be a sign that Earth's magnetic poles are preparing to flip, something that happens every few 100,000 years. Imagine trying to explain to airline executives that their flight routes need to constantly adapt because our planet's magnetic field has commitment issues. The aviation industry has had to become amateur geophysicists just to keep planes safely in the air over the South Atlantic. Here's where things get absolutely terrifying, and I mean that in the most fascinating way possible. When you're cruising at 35,000 feet over the South Atlantic, you're not just dealing with regular atmospheric conditions, you're essentially flying through a cosmic shooting gallery. The radiation levels in this region can spike to levels that would make a nuclear physicist nervous, and we're talking about invisible, silent, and potentially deadly energy particles bombarding everything in their path. One of the most startling curiosities about this geographical anomaly is that passengers and crew flying through certain parts of the South Atlantic can receive radiation doses equivalent to getting multiple chest X-rays during a single flight. Think about this for a moment. Astronauts on the International Space Station have better radiation protection than commercial airline passengers flying over specific areas of the South Atlantic. That's not an exaggeration, it's a cold, hard fact that the aviation industry would rather not advertise on their safety brochures. The cosmic radiation in this region is so intense that it can literally alter the DNA of living cells, potentially causing long-term health issues for frequent flyers and flight crews. Airlines like Lufthansa and Air France have actually started monitoring radiation exposure for their crews, treating certain South Atlantic routes like hazardous duty assignments. What's even more concerning is that this radiation doesn't just affect humans, it can completely fry sensitive electronic equipment faster than you can say, system failure. Modern aircraft are essentially flying computers packed with millions of dollars worth of delicate electronics, and the South Atlantic treats them like a giant electromagnetic pulse weapon. The radiation can cause random bit flips in computer memory, corrupt navigation systems, and trigger false alarms that can send pilots into emergency protocols. It's like flying through an invisible storm that attacks technology itself. Now here's where this South Atlantic mystery gets downright spine-chilling, and I'm talking about real incidents that have happened to actual flights. Picture this, you're a pilot with thousands of hours of experience, flying a state-of-the-art aircraft worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and suddenly your navigation system starts giving you readings that make absolutely no sense. Your GPS thinks you're somewhere over the Pacific, your altimeter is dancing like it's having a seizure, and your communication equipment is picking up static that sounds like it's coming from another dimension. These aren't theoretical scenarios. They're documented cases of what happens when modern aircraft encounter the electromagnetic chaos over the South Atlantic. One of the most curious aspects of this geographical phenomenon is how it selectively targets different aircraft systems in completely unpredictable ways. A Boeing 777 might experience compass malfunctions while its autopilot works perfectly fine, whereas an Airbus A350 could have its flight management computer completely scrambled while the basic instruments remain functional. It's like the South Atlantic has a twisted sense of humor, picking and choosing which critical systems to mess with at any given moment. Airlines have reported everything from false fire alarms to phantom engine warnings, all caused by cosmic radiation playing havoc with sensitive electronics. The really unsettling part is that these electronic failures can cascade into much bigger problems faster than you'd imagine. When your primary navigation system goes haywire over the middle of the ocean, backup systems become your lifeline. But what happens when the same radiation that killed your main system starts affecting your backups too? Pilots have described it as fighting a ghost that keeps changing the rules of engagement, where fixing one problem only reveals two more lurking beneath the surface. This is why seasoned aviators treat South Atlantic flights with the same respect they'd give to landing in a thunderstorm. Here's the million-dollar question that'll blow your mind. If the South Atlantic is so dangerous for aviation, why don't airlines just tell passengers the truth about their flight routes? The answer lies in a carefully orchestrated conspiracy of silence that involves billions of dollars, passenger psychology, and some seriously creative route marketing. Major airlines like Delta, American, and United have developed what insiders call stealth routing, flight paths that add hundreds of miles to journeys specifically to avoid the most dangerous parts of the South Atlantic anomaly, but they'll never admit it publicly. One of the most fascinating curiosities about modern aviation geography is that your direct flight from New York to Buenos Aires probably takes a scenic detour that passengers never even notice. The economics behind these secret routes are absolutely staggering, and I'm talking about costs that would make your head spin. Every single mile of deviation burns extra fuel, requires additional crew time, and eats into profit margins, yet airlines consider it a necessary expense to avoid the South Atlantic's electronic death trap. Companies like Emirates and Singapore Airlines have quietly invested millions in advanced route planning software that calculates radiation levels in real time, adjusting flight paths like a GPS system avoiding traffic jams. They've essentially turned avoiding cosmic radiation into a high-tech art form, but good luck finding any mention of this in their marketing materials. What's really mind-blowing is how the aviation industry has managed to keep this massive operational challenge almost completely under wraps. Flight tracking websites show these extended routes, but they're explained away as weather optimization or air traffic control requirements, never mentioning the invisible electromagnetic monster lurking over the South Atlantic. Airlines have become masters of creative storytelling, turning a genuine safety concern into routine operational language that doesn't alarm passengers. The next time you're on a long-haul flight that seems to take a weird route, remember that your pilot might be playing a high-stakes game of cosmic dodgeball that could save your life. So there you have it, the South Atlantic's invisible threat that's been reshaping aviation for decades. But here's what I want you to think about: if something this massive can be hidden in plain sight, what other secrets are lurking in our world's geography? The next time you're on a flight, track your route and ask yourself, are we really taking the shortest path, or dancing around invisible cosmic dangers? You now possess knowledge that 99% of travelers don't have. What are you going to do with it? Will you settle for being just another passenger, or start questioning the world with the curiosity it deserves? The South Atlantic anomaly is just the beginning of Earth's hidden mysteries, and there are countless more curious geographical secrets waiting to be discovered. If this blew your mind, smash that like button, share this with your friends who love travel mysteries, and subscribe to the channel with notifications on. Trust me, once you start seeing the world through this lens, you'll never look at a simple flight the same way again.